Hey guys, Parfax here, and today we are talking about fresh start servers. All right, let's get started. All right, so I'm here on the forums, and we have a post from ShadowFox, and it says, "Hey all, I'm currently going through and gathering a few questions for the team looking at concerns for fresh start servers. Anything you're wondering about? We won't be able to answer them all, but it's great to know what you're questioning." So I went ahead and I read this. I actually did a video on this and I actually deleted it. I was a little bit too negative in some aspects, not towards the game, but more towards some of the questions that were asked. But I want to go over what I think the fresh start servers should look like, maybe what I think they are going to look like, and kind of go over some of the questions and stuff like that you'll see on this post. We have a few posts down here that have 12 likes, 8 likes. I think there's a few like 7, 6, stuff like that. So I'm going to go over a few of those and we are going to, well, answer it the way I believe either they're going to answer it or the way I think they should answer it. All right, so let's talk about this one right here. And we'll talk a little bit about this here in a second. But it says, will fresh start servers be temporary or permanently locked from legacy servers? I think most are assuming it's a temporary lock. I think making them permanent is a significant mistake. Temporarily, like 6 months, sounds like fun. I do not see any value in fragmenting the community so early on. If they are to be permanent, then how will they interact with cross-server queues? So this is kind of a couple different things here, and then we have a third character slot little question up here. But here's my stance on how long they should lock them for. There's a lot of posts on here of people saying they think they should be permanently locked. There's one person's like, we want the new experience in quotation marks. Well, what happens in the game is, at least now, it doesn't take that long for you to go from a new experience to essentially it's going to be the same thing on legacy. Because with the way gearing is now, you can gear up so quickly. And before people go, well, it's all the money and all the duping. Well, the duping's been gone for a very long time now. That's not even a factor in the economy. And when you have, the big companies that own the territories, that's going to be the same thing on Fresh Start. You're going to have the companies that are going to own Everfall, Windsward, and Brightwood. They have a few things in place to kind of spread it out a little bit. We are always going to have the company that's going to make more money than the others. People spend a ton of money on crafting. They spend a ton of money on gear. People don't realize how much money goes out of the economy. Essentially, every time one person comes onto the server, buys a big piece of gear and transfers off it, or vice versa. If one person from your server goes there, you can be upwards of 1 million, 2 million coins. I've heard up to 4 million transfers. Now, when it comes to how long it should be locked, or if it should be locked at all, I think permanently locking them would be a very big mistake. There's a lot of people on here that believe that they should always be locked, but I think there's a period of time where the servers can get to the point where they're basically the same thing as quote unquote legacy. Now, the one big kind of misconception is this is not ArcAge. This is, I heard somebody talk about ArcAge gold, just a scam, a money scam. Well, the difference between this and ArcAge, first off, this game's not pay to win in the least bit. This is the least pay to win game I've probably ever played. And when it comes to gearing, it doesn't take you near the amount of time to gear as ArcAge. And even if so, you can play your character for 2 weeks and be able to compete with somebody that's been playing for 5 months, 6 months. Now that's if you know what you're doing, and the average player base will not be able to do it that quickly. But even if you're going at a moderate pace, it's only going to take you 1, 2, maybe 3 months to kind of get up to that point where you can actually start competing with people that have been playing the game for a year. Now, that's going to revolve around you knowing what to do, and a lot of it's just misinformation, maybe misallocating your resources, maybe not crafting the way you probably should, or maybe spending money on places you should and you shouldn't. But it's not nearly as a big of a hill to climb. I think it should be at minimum 3 months, upwards of 6 months, but I think it shouldn't be a hard right here, boom, 3 months. It should be well, we're going to start at 3 months, or maybe we'll go 6 months. And if we feel the need to transfer people, allow people transfers in and out, we can move it down. Or if we start at 3 months and it looks like everything's going well, we'll continuously move it away. So I don't think it's something that should be set in stone, because if the servers are going great and they have a great population and the economy itself is great and everything is going great, there's no need to mess with it. legacy servers, as everybody are calling them now, they can be kind of toxic, and that's mostly the player base. And we're going to talk about a little bit of toxicity here towards the end of the video. But I think if you lock them at minimum 3 months, I think it'll be fine. But I'd have the ability to make that date move. Because if, like I said, if everything's going well, there's no need to mess with a good thing. But I have a feeling that it'll be about 3 to 6 months, and they will be basically put in with the legacy servers. And honestly, that's all it really takes. Next, they say a third character slot. I believe they've said they are not doing a third character slot. Now, I know they've said that for the other servers they've put out, not the fresh start ones, but the new servers they've put out. They said they are not making a third character slot. I don't think they'll do a third character slot, because if you guys don't know, you're actually really not even supposed to have 2 characters in one region, because if you go to transfer from one region to another, if you actually have a character in that region, it won't let you transfer. For instance, I had a character on East and a character on West. And when I went to transfer my character on West to East, because I had one character already on East, I couldn't transfer. But to transfer my character on East out of East into something that wasn't West, and transfer my character from West onto East. So that's the way you have to do it. So I don't think they'll come out with a third character slot. I think that is a topic for another video of another day on why they should allow alts. But I think that, yeah, that third character slot is probably not going to come. But and honestly, I don't think it should come. Unless they revamp alt systems, I don't think there's really any necessity for that, because what they're trying to avoid here is there's people with 2 alts on the same server, and they want to be able to keep that even though you can't make them. So I would keep it as 2, and then just make the people that want to do the fresh start servers, and you already have 2 characters, I'd make them delete one. But that's just me. Oh, and then we didn't really talk about the cross-server queues. I think once we get to the point where we need cross-server queues, or once we get cross-server queues, it'll be just fine. I think they definitely should do, cross-server queues, Legacy and Fresh Start, because it'll be just fine. By the time we get cross-server, unless it's like a month away from launch, I think, of the Fresh Start servers, I think once you get to about the 3-month period of time, I think it's fine to do cross-server queues, but we'll see on that one. That one I'm not terribly worried about, because we don't know how close cross servers are coming. We don't even have it data mined yet, so it could be a little while before we see that. Also, there's actually a lot of talk on when they should do this. We have sorry, I couldn't find the post, but here it is. And well, here's one of them. But I want to talk a little bit about, it says, release fresh start servers soon, so people can get into Brimstone when Brimstone launches. I completely agree, but the one thing I think they need to do before they do that is give us the new player experience on live with them. I would rather see them release the fresh start servers on Brimstone if we got the new player experience versus releasing them 2 weeks early without it. Now, would it bother me that much personally? No. I'll be able to grind up. I'll be able to do my town board missions and everything like that, and I will get to 60 in just a couple days. But it's going to be a lot better for the player base if you get it there. I think it'll be very detrimental to the game if they release the fresh start servers without that new player experience. I know it's only 1 to 25, but it's a very fresh look on the game. We have the new towns. We have the new quests. Town boards are nerfed, so it's not going to really promote people to go out there and do town board missions. So I really do think they need to do that before they do the fresh start servers. If they can launch them at the same time, I think that is perfect. And then here it said, this was just a really random one locked at 3K people. That depends on what they're talking about as 3,000. Is that 3,000 concurrent players in the servers? Like right now it's 2,500. I think that is still too much, because without adjusting spawn timers on all of the resources, I think that is just way too many people on the server at a time. The resources that are basically on there right now are tailored around 2,000 people, and even then it is not enough. So when you're starting to put, 2,200, 2,500, 3,000 players on there, then it's way too much. And then if they're talking about once 3,000 people create their characters on the server, that is so too low. I just think this player doesn't quite understand how many players need to be on a server for it to be locked. Now, Amazon does a fairly good job at this. I know they get a lot of crap about it, but I think they do a pretty good job now lately of actually like locking the servers when they should. Queues are not bad. I know when you have servers that are 2,500, queues are not bad. I know some people vehemently argue that, but I'd rather have a queue than them going and seeing the population of the servers be 1,000, right? Obviously, the perfect number would be the exact number or however many players can be on the server at a time. Then that is the exact number of players that are on 100% of the time. But that's just not feasible. That's not going to happen. So you're going to have times where there's going to be queues, and locking at 3,000 players is so significantly low. That's New World, Amazon Game Studios. They would never. That is way too many. That's way too little amount of people to have locked on one server. And this one goes on to say about the don't allow server transfers, which I've already stated my point on that. But the one last point I do want to go over is I don't see it on here. Oh, right here, where there'll be PvP servers. So when it comes to PvP servers, I think a lot of people want this. I think Amazon will eventually go the route of giving a PvP server. In my opinion, the server will die quickly. A lot of people believe they want a PvP server, and this is coming from someone I flag probably 85 to 90% of the time. I spend most of my time flagged in New World. The only times that I'm not flagged are typically when we go to do mutations, because a lot of times we're doing cross-faction. On PvP servers, you will not be able to do any dungeons or anything like that with your faction. Whenever you're doing Dungeon Finder, you won't be allowed to do it with your faction. Mutations, not with your faction. You'll never be able to group with your faction. So I don't think people quite understand the ramifications of a PvP server, and PvP servers can be very toxic and will typically die off. It would be by far the first one that dies off, right? Unless you have like one big streamer that goes to a fresh start server, everybody goes there and then leaves. The PvP server will be the first one to die. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. So my final thoughts on New World Fresh Start servers are, I hope they are minimum 3 months before they allow transfers in. You should be allowed to transfer out, just not transfer in. I think they need to have at least a couple servers. They need to have the ability to merge into other servers. If you have just enough people to have one Fresh Start server, I think that's very bad. I think New World will have the ability to have multiple Fresh Start servers on each region. I'm thinking probably 3 on East, 2 on West, maybe 4 on East, 2 on West, 1 or 2 in South America. And I think it'll be just fine in a couple. And I'm not super familiar with the European region, but I know they have a lot of players over there. So you might do like 4 or 5 over there as well. If they can sustain that population, it'll be great. You have to have the ability to merge down because it's just going to happen. Players are going to come back. They're going to play the expansion. They're either going to like it or they're not, but even the players that are like it, they'll eventually move on to other games, and the servers will get to the point where they'll need to merge. I think New World has shown the ability in the recent times to be able to, they've shown us their model of being able to add and subtract. If they want to go down servers, they can merge. If they want to expand, they put up new servers that are actually doing pretty well. I haven't checked on the last couple that were put up, but all the ones previously were doing very well. They were pretty close to pop locked, and people are having a blast over there. So it has been a very, breath of fresh air that they can do that. If you want to go over there, you do have to pay money, but or start a new character. But it's been kind of a breath of fresh air to see that they can do that. Other than that, the third character slot, I don't think they're going to do because they are very against having alts. And the only people that really want 3 character slots are the people that have, most of the people are the people that have 2 characters on one server, which Amazon doesn't want you to do anyway. So I don't think they'll give us a 3rd character slot. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this post. Make sure you go there. Again, it's going to be in the link in the description down below. Go down there and check it out. Put your questions on there. Like the post that you liked. Make sure you look. And if there's a post that's already, been asked that you want to ask, make sure you just go like on it, maybe comment on it, and do a reply. So the more likes and more replies you get, the more chance or the better chance you have of getting your question answered. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, like always, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.